and rejoice in the fact that you are our keeper. You are our builder. Father, Lord, you know the house that you've built, and that, Lord God, you can keep that house that you've built. So we thank you, Lord, this morning for your presence. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be here. And Lord God, as we discuss and we present to God the concerns of our security department of this nation into your hands, we ask, O God, that you have full control. Guide us, we pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, good morning to the many listeners and viewers of Dominica's broadcasting station, DBS Radio.
Recognize the presence of the Minister of National Security and Home Affairs, Honorable Reuben Blackmore, Chief of Police, Mr. Daniel Cabon, Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, gazetted officers, and other ranks of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. Let me recognize also the Senior Administrative Officer, Miss Lloyd. Miss Lloyd. Let me recognize the presence of Government Press Secretary, Miss Dion Durand-Smith, members of the media, members of the listening public. Good morning. We welcome you this morning to this press conference, which has been called by the Ministry of National Security. This press conference will look at the police force and its measures being taken to deal with crime and the situation of crime in Dominica. We'll also hear from the Minister of National Security, who will speak on the matter of crime and initiatives to deal with crime in Dominica. Crime is a phenomenon that affects countries worldwide. Crime and criminal activities affect us in many ways in which society is affected and our economies are affected. The safety and security of our society can be immensely compromised, and economic activities and investments can be debilitated. The region over the last few years has experienced a surge in the entry of illegal weapons in the respective countries, which has resulted in the increase in gun crimes. Law enforcement is charged with the responsibility of detecting and prosecuting criminal elements involved in perpetrating these criminal acts. However, with new and emerging crimes and the advent of technological advancement, there must be a redoubling of our efforts, both by law enforcement and our various communities, if we are to realize success in the fight on crimes. This morning, I will welcome to the podium the Chief of Police, who will speak on the crimes, the assessment of our crimes in Dominica, and the initiatives that are being put in place to take on the fight against criminal activities in Dominica. Let us welcome the Chief of Police, Mr. Daniel Cabon.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, ACP Bibitson Valerie. Let me acknowledge the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Reuben Blackmore, Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs, Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, gazetted officers and other ranks of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, members of the media, general public listening to this press conference here in Dominica and overseas. This press conference was called to inform the citizens of Dominica on what the police have done and will do to combat crime and violence in Dominica. I will now report on firearm-related offenses for the year 2023. Let me speak about homicides. As at September 27, 2023, Dominica has recorded 14 murders. Out of these, 8 were committed with the use of illegal firearms, 2 of which have been solved. Out of the 14 murders committed, 7 have been solved, and we are in pursuit of 3 suspects. Joanne Thomas, male, 29 years, of Mountain, Granby, is wanted for the alleged murder of Thomas Dangleman, male, 55 years, of Granby, which occurred at Lally, Granby, on February 4th, 2023. Raymond Sturgis, male adult of Granby, is wanted for the alleged murder of Mervyn Bernard, alias Smoothy, male, 29 years, of Campbell, which occurred at Granby on May 29, 2023. Scott Hazel, male adult of Laplane, is wanted for the alleged murder of Jamie Simeon, male, 33 years old, of Silver Lake, which occurred on Hanover Street on September 23rd, 2023. Robberies. As of September 27, 2023, there were 16 firearms-related robberies, out of which 8 were solved. The 8 robberies have been solved. The 8 robberies which have been solved are as follows. 2 at the National Petroleum filling station in Canefield. 1 at Mam's Supermarket in Massac. 1 at Lindo Matt filling station in Goodwill. 1 at West Indies Oil filling station in Canefield. A robbery on Issa Mobile sales truck, which occurred at Geneva, Granby. Chinese National in Goodwill. A resident of Cassibruce, which occurred at Tarish Pit in Cassibruce. In relation to all alleged robbery which occurred on Hillsborough Street, 1 Joshua Laville of Foncoli is being sought as a suspect in this matter. Police initiatives. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is mandated to take all necessary legal measures to prevent and reduce crimes and maintain law and order in the country. The police have been working continuously to ensure that all these reports of crimes are thoroughly investigated with a view to bringing the perpetrators to justice. Additionally, the police has been engaged in a number of policing activities. There will be increased mobile and foot patrols in the city of Roseau and many out-district communities. This is a special operation where the police will also be out throughout the nights. This special operation will continue throughout the festive season up to the end of the year. This special operation may continue depending on the situation at the time. I have deployed an additional 10 police officers to Granby to help with the officers stationed there to bring a sense of normalcy in Granby. House searches for illegal firearms and ammunition. There will be vehicle checkpoints, and there will be joint operations on land and sea. These activities have yielded some success, and effective September 27, 2023, there will be an increase in police presence island-wide. In order to achieve these objectives, all rest days have been cancelled to have more police officers available for this operation on a daily basis. I want to publicly acknowledge the officers for their unrelenting support and commitment to duty. Additionally, the police community initiative will be enhanced with community policing outreach activities. The police visited and addressed a number of schools during the opening of this new school year. On September 22nd, 2023, the Minister for National Security, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of National Security, senior police officers, and I met with the community leaders from Granby. This initiative is to boost the community police outreach project. The community outreach program will continue island-wide. We will announce the venues and times for these meetings. I have appointed Superintendent Belgrove Charles as the community policing coordinator. He has been assigned a team of senior officers to assist with this initiative. I will now speak about the police successes we have had so far. I can report that as at September 27, 2023, the police have confiscated 30 illegal firearms and 843 rounds of ammunition. 37 individuals have been arrested and charged with possession of illegal firearms and ammunition, including 2 St. Lucian nationals. 1 Bulgarian national was arrested and charged and sentenced to a term of imprisonment for theft at ATM machines in Roseau. 7 out of the 14 murders for 2023 have been solved. The persons responsible have been arrested and charged. 7 persons have been arrested and charged in connection with the robberies. In conclusion, Dominica is ours, and we must make every effort to keep it safe. I thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for this information that you have given us and given to the public. Indeed, it is important that the public appreciate the effort of the police, and you could clearly see that there has been some level of success in the measures being implemented by the police force. Yes, we have to continue, and it is a challenge everywhere. Fighting crimes is a challenge everywhere. But the police force is committed to success, and so we will endeavor to tackle the problems of crime with all our might. Right at this time, I want to invite the Minister, Honorable Ribbon Blackmore, to speak with us. He will address on the issue of police outreach, community outreach, and other measures to deal with the management of crime in Dominica. Let us welcome Honorable Ribbon Blackmore. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me firstly give thanks and praise to the Almighty for a wonderful day. I want to thank you, Chief. Thank you very much. I want to acknowledge the presence of Commissioner of Police, also the Senior Administrative Officer in the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police, gazetted officers, members of the media fraternity, and Dominicans listening in Dominica and overseas, as well as well-wishers and friends of this beautiful country. Let me, first of all, thank you for being here this morning and to transmit information of national importance insofar as the management of crime is concerned in this beautiful country of Dominica. Let me take this opportunity to highly commend the Chief of Police and his men, and also I want to take this opportunity to recognize the effort of the officers of the Customs and Excise Division in their collective fight with the police force to rid the streets of illegal firearm and to bring to justice the perpetrators of this dangerous crime. I want to reiterate for emphasis, as was said by the Chief of Police, Mr. Daniel Carbon, that every gun-related murder only add deeper darkness to the gloomy and dark night that is already devoid of stars. It is clear that there are many in our midst in this beautiful country who have no regard for the right to life and the general pursuit of happiness, and believe, therefore, it is acceptable to settle differences by taking the lives of others. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you listening and those of you in here, that was never meant to be the way in which a civilized society ought to be operated. I want to echo what the Chief of Police has said just now, and to say that gun-related crimes, especially as it relates to the taking of human life, is the single most dangerous threat to our peace and security as a small nation state, and is therefore one of the biggest items on the agenda of the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs and your government of this beautiful country. Let me take this opportunity to recognize the effort of our Prime Minister in ensuring that every request that has been made thus far by the police to fight this phenomenon, he has responded positively. I want to say further that the Ministry of Legal Affairs and National Security has developed a holistic plan, working in concert with the relevant law enforcement agencies, and of course being led by the police department, for the express purpose of curtailing that situation. Crime is a concern of every one of us, and therefore we have a collective responsibility to work in concert to bring an end to this phenomenon, more so as it relates to ridding our streets of illegal firearms. You have heard just now from the Chief of Police of the intensified effort of the police to maintaining and preventing crime in this beautiful country. Further to what he has said, I want to just say for emphasis that we do not manufacture firearms in Dominica. It is therefore important that we develop a mechanism which draws from the effort of all the law enforcement agencies to properly investigate the origin and all the elements and players involved in the illicit trafficking of illegal firearms, ammunition, and components to our beautiful country. In this regard, therefore, an investigative unit has been formed to investigate matters relating to the illicit trafficking of firearms, ammunition, and components into a beautiful country. This unit shall comprise of officers from the Police Force of Dominica, the Custom and Excise Division of Dominica, and the Financial Investigation Unit, FIU. The intention is to investigate every element and every player involved in that syndicate and to undermine the said syndicate with a view to recovering firearms and bringing those responsible to justice. Let me take this opportunity to commend again the officers of the Customs and Excise Duty for division, for the role that they have played, and also the duties on my mind so much, the role they have played so far in confiscating illegal firearms entering our legal ports. And we are grateful for the diligence and also that of the police. Going forward, we shall ensure that the resources needed by the customs and police are provided for that express purpose of ridding our streets of illegal fire. In that regard, your government, through the instrumentality of the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, have been working in close collaboration with our regional and international partners to actually develop our technical and capacity to investigate and to apprehend people responsible for trafficking illegal firearms into our countries. The fact is, one of the key components in realizing success in the dismantling of that syndicate is to take away the money involved in that trade. Let me just say further that your government has pledged to ensure the safety and security of all the citizens and residents of this beautiful country. In recent years, several attempts, therefore, have been made to improve the capabilities of the police through the provision of training and equipment and an effective policing plan, as I heard from the Chief of Police, to ensure that the police can read the street of illegal firearms, and changes have been made, therefore, to our legal framework to ensure stricter penalty and for people found with the possession of illegal firearms, components, and ammunition. However, I must emphasize that the fight against illegal firearms and other forms of crimes cannot be dealt with by the authorities, namely the police, customs, FIU, and the government agencies by themselves. We have remained vigilant, but in order to succeed in that fight, to manage and prevent crimes from happening on our streets, we have to be creative and innovative in finding ways to curtail and to discourage the illegal use of firearms. Some of the ways you have heard from contemplated, you have heard from the Chief of Police, that have already begun through the police effort. And of course, key to that is a more robust policing approach and the review of our relevant laws. We have been able to specifically engage a consultant in the area of legal drafting to look at the relevant laws. I want to say further, but as part of our strategies to deal with this phenomenon of illegal firearms, your government is now adding to the menu of interventions a gun and ammunition amnesty that will commence from the 1st of October 2023 and end on the 31st of October 2023. You may recall that such a program was offered in 2007, when your humble servant served as Minister for National Security. Based on the current affairs, as Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs, I felt the need to propose that another gun and ammunition amnesty be offered to the nation for a short period, and that is for 1 month. Let me just say that a gun and ammunition amnesty program is a period for non-prosecution that allows people to surrender their illegal firearms or unregistered firearm without fear of legal jeopardy or being charged or prosecuted. This amnesty, therefore, is directed to two distinct groups of people. Firstly, those who know that they're in possession of illegal firearms or ammunition or components. And secondly, those who are perhaps innocent custodians of a weapon, component, or ammunition, and possibly is even unsure as to its legal status, but are too frightened to do anything about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Dominicans, now is your opportunity to surrender without fear of being prosecuted these illegal firearms and play your part in making this beautiful country safer for all of us. It is clear to see that the loss of human lives, particularly our young men, has become a national problem that all of us should be concerned about and work together as communities, as a country, to curtail this situation. So, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we must act now before it's too late. If you're aware that your loved ones, let me say it again, if you are aware that your loved one, and I use the operative word, loved one, if you love somebody, you want what's best for the person. Or a friend has an illegal firearm, component, or ammunition, encourage them to surrender those items to the police, to the nearest police station. Or you can do it for your attorney or someone you can trust, and ensure that the gun is properly packaged and you will not be prosecuted. In regards to where the illegal firearms and ammunition or components are to be surrendered, as I said just now, any police station on Ireland. Let me just say, for emphasis, that once this period has expired, this gun and ammunition amnesty period has expired, the government will go to Parliament and to significantly strengthen our gun and bail acts, to close every loophole. Thereafter, if you're found with an illegal firearm or ammunition, you should go to jail for a minimum of 5 years. If you use an illegal firearm thereafter to hurt somebody, to rob somebody, or God forbid, to kill somebody, you should wait in jail till the trial date of your case. When we significantly or repeal, therefore, in 2011, the Firearms Act, the intentions of parliamentarians was clear. The penalties were significantly increased. But it is clear that the manner in which the laws as it relates to gun crimes have been applied, the intention of the legislature is not being realized. In that regard, your government has retained the services of former Attorney General Anthony Laron, a renowned legal draft person, to look at the relevant laws in this country, inclusive of the Firearms Act and the Bail Act, as we speak, that is being done, to ensure that the law has sanctioned that when you're caught thereafter, this period that we have just announced, that the law must have sanctioned and the sentence must be relevant to the crime that you have committed. Further to what I've just said, as you heard from the Chief of Police, through the instrumentality of the Dominican Police Force, the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs has developed a community public outreach program which will be spearheaded by the police. The intention, therefore, is to get our police department to recognize the modern society in which we now live and the attendant changes that have taken place in villages and communities. And therefore, to develop some dialogue with the respective communities and villages so that they can share ideas and views as to how they believe the police can better serve the people of Dominica. The intention is to realize safer communities and a better Dominica. We have already begun the process of meeting with community leaders, inclusive of people with influence on the block. We have started that process in the community of Granby. Let me take this opportunity to highly commend the people of Granby for the manner in which they have conducted themselves in the dialogues we have had so far. The leadership has been tremendous. For a matter of fact, I was significantly touched when I listened to the principal of the Granby Primary School, who has already developed a program to get our boys to talk to each other on the whole issue as to how to resolve conflict without exchanging blows. That should be replicated in the homes. The intention is to bring together church leaders, community leaders, youth leaders, popular musicians who are on board already, and to have a dialogue. I also want, without calling names, to commend some of the people who have been working for us behind the scene. And the effort has resulted in the recovery of illegal firearms. Some of them are lawyers. At the right time, you'll know who they are as we're speaking. I believe, as someone who is schooled in social science, that it has to be a combination of strict law enforcement intervention, but the whole issue of affirmative action is significant. There's something happening within the psyche of our young men. And therefore, to get to the root cause of that problem, we have to go back to the homes, to the communities, on the blocks, and engage all and sundry. At the end of the exercise, we shall develop working groups. We have already developed one in Granby. And to also develop an action plan for each of those working groups. And that working group will interface with the police and the community for the express purpose of solving crime and solving problems. May the good Lord bless this country, and let us continue to work together to keep this country safer and better for all of us. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And in a while, we will be opening up the floor for questions from those of you who wish to ask questions. But we have been told about the initiatives of the police and the joint effort of the customs and the excise division in the effort on fighting crimes and detecting illegal weapons and firearms coming into the country. This is very necessary for us because some of the means used by these people can be very crafty. And so we have to work with every effort at getting the support of our various institutions in the fight on crimes. We have been told about the review of the laws that is going to be in place very soon. And so we want to look forward to that. And the amnesty that is being put in place for guns and ammunition. And so there'll be a period for which prosecution would not be enforced or put in place, as we ask people to bring in the firearms at various police stations. And we ask that people work with the police. We need the cooperation and support of the community. That's the way we can do it together. Dominica is ours. We have to make Dominica as safe as possible, because we never know where the other crime is going to be committed. And every firearm we take out of the street is better for us. It's safer for us. It's safer for you. It's safer for your children. It's safer for your family. So we need to work together, and we need to encourage the various communities to come together, give the police the support. We will go out, we'll come out, we'll understand your circumstances, and we'll work along to make the effort successful. So with that being said, let me open up the floor to anyone who would have questions. Yes, we have, is it Kalai? Yes, Kalai is here, and may proceed with your question, Kalai.
My first question is to the Honourable Minister, how he plans to have a robust crime fighting when the police have insufficient vehicles. Vehicles have been borrowed from other ministries for a protracted period. And then also, we would want to find out in terms of the fighting of crime. My information is that there seems to be an issue with uniform items and officers for years. And officers are still struggling with uniform items. When that is going to be put in place. I was happy also, Mr. Minister, to hear that the Bill Act, see I have my copy, is going to be looked at, because I go to the court every time and there have always been issues dealing with the Bill Act. So I'm very happy to hear that the Bill Act is going to be looked at and to be further reviewed. And whilst I'm on my feet, I want to ask the police, where are they as it relates to the firebombing of my vehicle? Because absolutely nothing has been done, nothing has been said to me. That happened at 1:50 a.m. Obviously, the perpetrators who came there, they must have been armed. My vehicle was firebombed, and I'm not hearing anything. That too is a crime. What is the police doing as it relates to that and other vehicles which has been firebombed in the country? Thank you.
If I may respond to the first question that was asked of the minister, so far as it relates to vehicles for the police and uniform item, I find it strange, Kalai, that the same person who told you did not give you an explanation for all the vehicles that have been damaged, and no report has been filed by the police. But having said that, let me just say again that this is a government, through the good self of the Prime Minister, who have provided the police with the most resources, inclusive of vehicles. And when a vehicle is down, it doesn't mean that the vehicle cannot be used again. The vehicle has to be repaired. If you have to change your brakes, the vehicle is down for, when your brakes go bad in a vehicle, don't you change it? Do you buy a new vehicle for that? Now, I want you to say further, because I am here today to talk about the good things, positive things, that I want to express on behalf of the government of Dominica. Our gratitude to the government and people of the People's Republic of China for again making available 21 vehicles for the police. It is my hope that the police, upon receiving those vehicles, will demonstrate that sense of ownership and responsibility. Our intention, as we have always been in the past, is to ensure that the police enjoy the level of mobility that is required to effectively undertake their job. In terms of uniforms, as we speak, we're in the process of recruiting additional police officers. We are trying to train 55 police officers. And that is key to the process. And requests for uniform items are currently always been made and always been addressed by this government. So if you need boots, you need uniform, this is the government of the police. And you can see the police when they walk, they're well attired. Okay? Now the other question is for the police.
In relation to your question concerning your firebombing of your vehicle, I know that the matter is under investigations. An investigator is assigned to investigate your matter. I would like to know whether you've been to the station to inquire as to the status of your investigations of your report. Mr. John Baptiste.
I went to the police station. I gave a formal report. I was out of state. Since I came back, I did that. I was told that the report I will sign it, and those who are at my home who also give a report on my behalf, they too have given a report. We have not seen or heard anything from anybody ever since. Absolutely nothing.
Well, based on what you've said, I would want to understand that the police would want to have more information in relation to anybody you believe that could have done that. If you know somebody who has that information, if you can encourage them to make the information available to the police.
Good morning. My name is Matt Peltier, Matt in the morning. Mr. Minister, let me say congratulations as it relates to the initiatives that you have taken on in terms of fighting gun crime and the police themselves. But here's a report that I get on a continuous basis, that the police may be selective in the prosecution of certain individuals because they are friends of the politicians. So they protect these individuals because they think they are the friends of the politicians. Mr. Minister, how do you react to this? Is that true?
Well, this is a very, very interesting question. From what I know, that there's nothing like selective prosecution in Dominica. So if we know of anyone with illegal firearms, or you have any suspects who have used a firearm to commit a crime, please report it to the police. And so I think that is key in our fight to ensure that the law has no friends. And that is the impression that we proceed with as we seek to make this country safer and better for all. So if you have any information of anybody who has committed a crime, any crime, using illegal firearm or any other forms of crime, please report the matter to the police. And the matter will be dealt with from what I know. And I read actually, you heard the chief of police gave the statistics of the number of arrests they have made over the past years and months. And given the realities, I think they have done a reasonable job, along with the Customs Department, to actually trying to rid our streets of illegal firearms. So the fight will continue in that regard, and the law has no friends in this beautiful country.
Let me follow up with another question related. Is the police only concerned about gun crime? Are we concerned about white-collar crime that may be committed?
Any crime that is reported to the police has to be investigated. Whether it's gun crime, sexual offenses, I would like you to tell me what you mean by white collar crime. You know, the police has a responsibility in law to investigate all crimes. And I'm not seeing how the police can shy away from that.
Question?
Yes.
Seeing that the matter is so grave and
Please, could you say who you are, please?
my name is Josiah Session from My Worship FM Radio. Seeing that this situation is so grave and we are losing our young men on a regular basis, I know that the amnesty is set into place, and that's a good thing, Minister. That's a good way to start. But if that is not bearing fruit, what then would the police do to make sure? Because there's talk that says that we know who the bad actors are. We know some, or we may know who are, the communities that are affected. Is the police themselves going to do some personal searches in regards to that? So in case if guns are not coming in, what will the police do to make, searches, to search homes or to search people? I know they have been doing the traffic stops, which is good, but will they be taking it further as a result of that if the guns are not coming in?
Yeah, the police is going to be very aggressive. We've been aggressive in the past, and we'll continue to be aggressive in our operations. We'll be unpredictable. We'll show up at any time during the night or day. I said it. We trying to concentrate heavily on our operations at night. We know some of the criminals, known criminals. We have our targets, but the community has a responsibility too. The family has a responsibility too. It is not only the business of the police. You have a son. You know your son have a legal firearm. You can whisper to us. You can tell us something, and I'm very happy that this amnesty is coming into effect, because it is a window that is provided to everybody in the community who know about illegal firearm, who has illegal firearm and ammunition, that they can bring it in themselves and they can urge people to bring it in. You will not want to bring it in outside of an amnesty because you fear prosecution. You don't want your mother, your sister, your father, your brother to go to jail. Now you have the window. Take the opportunity, because it is the weapon that causing the murders. And the minister said it. We don't make weapons here. The weapons come from overseas. They come in. We have a lot of borders. They come in. So let us get the weapons out of the hands of those people. The young people can be very reckless, and you see what is happening with the young men. So I hope they take that initiative and help us to recover as much illegal weapons we can. Yeah, thank you.
Chief, also I want to ask, still on gun matters, the law gives you the right to deny one license for firearm. I have seen some people with a firearm that is supposed to be a licensed firearm, and they have it there like as if, well, I am concerned about that. And you're not a police officer, but you have a firearm there on your side. Yes, you are licensed. I am concerned about that. In terms of how do you go about finally deciding, is Carlisle John Baptist a fit and proper person to be a holder of a firearms license? How do you go about deciding that? Because I am very, very concerned about that, because when people have that firearm, they feel bigger. They're bigger than the earth. They're bigger than you and me. They're not police officers. And we are also concerned about that, Chief.
Yeah, that was brought to my attention, I believe, yesterday. Somebody mentioned that to me. To be sincere, me as chief, I have had serious difficulty readily lending myself to granting firearm licenses. There's a process in law. It is established in law by which I can grant licenses. One of the measures that the chief follows is our background check. You apply for a firearm license, you go through the training. I assign somebody, specifically in the intelligence unit, to do a background check, and in depth meet you, interview you, and get their information about you in the communities. And so when I get that, if the report is favorable, that doesn't say I'll give you a firearm license. I have a discretion. And sometimes even if you meet the criteria, I may still not give you a license. So that is how the process goes.
Yes, but you still have not answered the question that I posed, that there are persons that you have granted them the license, and they feel bigger than the earth, they feel bigger than you and me, and they have it exposed. And like you quite rightly said, you have received reports about that. What do you intend to do? I have gone to the stadium to watch football or cricket, and I see people with their piece on their side, like as if they are police officers. They know themselves, they listen in. It's a fact. We are concerned about that also, Chief. Yeah. So what do you intend to do about such persons?
As soon as I get the people that are doing that, I call them in. I can call them in. I call them in. It might not be enough to revoke their license, but I can call them in and admonish them.
One final question from me. It seems to be dominating the floor here. Mr. Minister, back to you. We've heard your colleagues, or maybe one of your colleagues, speak to they having their snipers and the Navy SEALs. How do you speak to these people, your colleagues? Because you know a Navy SEAL and a sniper. What do you say to your colleagues? Do you think they should be reprimanded?
The thing is, I know that you're a lover of Calypso. You play Calypso. I'm not sure if you're a Calypso judge. And therefore, you know what hyperbole is, especially during an election campaign. I don't think it is fair to take something that was said on a political platform by way of hyperbole. Yes, you got my point? And to interpret that as if to say that that person was inciting violence or something like that. This government do not condone incitement to violence, and that is the reality of this government. So I know you know within your psyche. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze you, but that was political rhetoric, or as we say in Calypso, hyperbole. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning. DBS Radio. Okay, DBS Radio, Nicholas Dennis. I'm going to ask a question not specifically on the gun, but a press statement was released yesterday from Ministry of National Security on the rescue of Haitian illegal migrants. So I have a question here, say, recently, as the national boat was intercepted in St. Kitts with Haitian nationals illegally migrating to the country on the September 20th, 2023, is the government aware of that situation? If so, what is the government doing to deal with this issue in regards to illegal movement of Haitian nationals facilitated by Dominicans?
As I've heard from me in the past, and the government officials, the police, even our Prime Minister, that we welcome everybody to our shores, but we expect everybody to respect the laws of the country. Now, on the specific issue that you're referencing, I'm aware of it, but to date, by way of the filing of a report, we're not able to establish as to whether the boat actually left Dominica. And my instruction as a minister, and as a government position, that the people who were intercepted, the non-nationals, have to be sent back to their country of origin. That's what I can say to you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good evening of you, the Chronicle Media. I have a question for the Chief of Police. I'm going to stray a bit away from the gun violence topic. As it relates to the disappearance of Kanisha Etienne last year, I'm just speaking and asking on behalf of the public, has there been any new findings or updates during the investigation as it relates to Kanisha Etienne? A lot of people are actually asking, has it stopped? What has been going on in the investigation, and also the alleged discovery of Kian. Can you please give us an update on that?
You say the alleged discovery of Kian.
Did you say the alleged discovery of?
Excuse me?
The alleged discovery of Kian?
Yes.
What's that?
No? Right. So also we would like to find out if there's an update.
No. Please, take your time. Just rephrase the question. Repeat
My
the
question
please.
relates to the disappearance of Kanisha Etienne last year. Mainly, are there any updates, any new findings in regard to the investigation for Kanisha Etienne?
The search for Kanisha Etienne has been exhaustive. The police force worked in close collaboration with the French authorities. In the early stages of the searches, the public gave us great assistance. As the search continued, we requested, and the French offered, and we requested also assistance from the French. We had numerous soldiers coming at different times from the French to help us to do the search. And that search was conducted in collaboration with us. We were right there. And the French also had numerous flyovers with their helicopters. And yes, the one from Mona. Yes, and we had no success, I must say. We're still open to any information that could help us to find her. We're still open. There may be somebody who knows something, so we never know. In terms of reference to Kian, that is a matter that is before the coroner's court. There will be an inquest, and the inquest will bring closure to this matter.
Okay, so does that mean that the body is still at, waiting postmortem, or? Yes. After the postmortem, and after the inquest was opened in relation to Kian, a permissive warrant was handed over to the family to bury Kian. Some legal ramifications came about, and Kian's body stayed at the funeral home for quite some time. And I can tell you that I received a copy of a letter addressed to the lawyer and the family of Kian that the body should be removed from the funeral room for burial, because there is a cost to it. The cost is not that of the police. It is not that of the government. The family is responsible to meet the cost to the funeral home. So since they have had the permissive warrant, the body is automatically handed over to you from the government. So that is how it is. So
as to if he's buried, is he buried, Deputy? I cannot tell you if the body was buried, but I know for sure that the funeral home they wrote, and they give a date by which time the body should be removed, and there's a cost to it. That's what I can say.
Thank you.
Ronaldo Luke, Dominican News Online. My question is to the Minister of National Security. Can you speak on the appointment of new magistrate at the court to assist in the speedy prosecution of matters, especially gun-related? Very often we hear in the court that consideration is given to the length of time a defendant is spent on remand, so the court grant bail in that regard.
As you heard during our budget presentation, commitment was made to hire additional magistrate. As we speak, we're in the process of doing that, and we shall be hiring additional magistrate to add to the current numbers on the bench. Thank you.
Any updates, Commissioner, on the French national that was missing for some time?
You're referring to the young lady?
The young lady, yes.
Yeah, that too, the police, in collaboration with the French authorities, we have conducted exhaustive searches for this young lady. The French came down with their soldiers. We did the search in collaboration with them. We traversed all the segments, all the trails, and we have had no trace.
Mr. Blackmore, just a follow-up for my question, sorry. Can you speak about the position with Mr. Bernard Paquet? He was a former magistrate. We understand that his contract was not renewed, and there are a lot of matters which are pending before him. Should Mr. Paquet his contract not be renewed, then these matters have to go through the entire stage again. So can you speak on that, please?
From what I know, that the contract from Mr. Paquet came to an end, and any subsequent engagement of that magistrate will be communicated to the public.
Yeah, Hassan Robinson, DBS. This question is in relation to recently defunct two bodies. The question is basically for the Ministry of National Security as well as the minister himself. Presently, we noticed that technology has been increasing. How has the police and the ministry been utilizing technology to help deter crime, such as fingerprints and that type of thing, so that it will prevent people from feeling they can get away with some of the crimes? That's it.
The police have the capabilities to use fingerprint and photography. And we also have the capabilities to go through the process of DNA. So we have highly trained scenes of crime technicians assisting us with their police officers, and they're assisting us with that process. So we're using the technology that is available to us, and we also go as far as getting assistance from the region to assist us in our crime detecting efforts.
Yeah. Just to add to what the chief has just said, and the questions were asked about the French national who went missing, and also Kanisha, may also rest in peace. So,
she did, man?
From what we have gathered, well, if anybody knows of her existence, we're happy to know. And I'm presuming that for the better, that, if something miraculous were to happen and she's alive. But from what we know, that it's the possibility that she has gone to the good beyond. And we have learned from those experiences, and to therefore build up on our capabilities insofar as search and rescue is concerned. And we are currently, we have learned from that, and in keeping with the need to boost our technological capabilities, we are now equipped with, the police force is now equipped with drones to that effect, with effective range, which I'll not mention, and other capabilities.
I want to ask something I saw surfaced not too long ago, as it relates to an individual who was charged with murder and subsequently discharged from the court for a long time. And then police record that was in the public's domain. And people seem to be very concerned about that. Is that how it is done? You say, I am charged with a capital offense, and it's not that I have not been found guilty, but the court is saying because of the length of time it took to prosecute me. So there is, some issues with that. Because of the length of time it took to prosecute me, I am closing that matter.
and then I apply for a police record, and I get a clean police record. How is that? How is it done, sir?
Well, I was talking to, during our engagement with the public, as we strive to work in concert with the public and to build partnership. And a member of a certain community said something to me that was, to me, very instructive. And he said to me, you know what? We give any police blows, but the police apprehend people and hand them to the court. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, I got distracted.
Police apprehend people and hand them over to the court. That was, you were speaking in layman language, but I understood what you were saying. And they get released by the court. In one of the instances, a guy who committed murder, right, resulted in his death of someone who was on his deathbed, was on remand, but he was placed on bail for $50,000. Do you get my point? Now, we live in a system where people are tried. If you're charged for an indictable offense, and it goes through the PI stage for the magistrate court, all you need to do is to establish whether there's enough evidence for you who have been accused to answer your charge at the High Court, at the Supreme Court. That's all. You're not having a trial. When that has been exhausted at the magistrate court, it seems to me you cannot blame the police. It seems to me, based on the gravity of the offense, most of murder, the reasonable thing to do, embracing societal and the public interest, is to ensure that the matter is heard by a judge and jury. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's no limitation of statute for murder. So if a matter is pending before the court, every police officer has given evidence. Or more so if you have what they call paper committal at the magistrate court level. The matter is before the court. Once you're deposed, you are given sworn evidence. Even if the person who have investigated the case is refusing to present himself before the court, the court issues an order for that person. The person should be placed in the box and treated as a hostile witness. That person perjure himself and send himself to jail. That's how the justice system ought to be working, not the police. So we have to make a separation of powers between what the police can do and within whose domain, okay, the competencies to deliver matter. So I think that is a very important question you're asking, and that is why everyone within the system has a role to play. The police has to investigate, but the court also has a responsibility to the broader society. See? And then to take a decision in a room by yourself and to let off somebody who have been accused for killing somebody else, to me, the test has to be in keeping with the public interest.
Yes, but sir, having said that, remember, there is a length of time. There is a length of time, and given the length of time, but to further exacerbate the whole situation that you have spoken about, the person is out and then applies for a police record. One second, sir. And gets a clean police record. They're not convicted. Gets a clean police record and have it brandishing all over the place. So then society is saying, is that really right? That is the question society is asking, you know. Is that right? So, I mean, yes, you've given all kind of things, but is the length of time, and if I may go back, sir, with what you just said, when you have matters before the courts and matters take a long time, and when magistrates' contracts are not being renewed and matters have to start de nouveau, that too is not helping the justice system. Because we have matters where a magistrate contract was not renewed. He had 60 matters in the Portsmouth area, critical matters, including murder. Now, if that magistrate is not back on the bench, it has to go before a new magistrate. He has 20 matters in Roseau, in total 80. Is that justice to the person and the person's family and society on a whole, sir? I don't know who's going to address that, but I am concerned and society is concerned about that.
Okay, we're not here this morning to litigate those issues that are beyond a point of exhaustion. And a question asked by this young lady, in keeping with what you just asked, it was answered, and that answer remains. Okay? Yeah.
Yes, Julian Morris, GIS, I have one question.
So,
Your
final question?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes. I have listened carefully, but I'm not sure I heard much in terms of deterrent. Yes, we're doing good at the customs, upon entry, at the other end, as far as laws are concerned, and perhaps improving the Bail Act and so on. But I'm wondering to what extent the discussion on, or what leeway do you have in terms of a range of deterrents besides jail time? Because what I'm thinking is that my thought process is, a hardened criminal doesn't necessarily think of jail time necessarily as a punishment. I wouldn't think so. It's like, I mean, I'm alive. I'm perhaps in sort of a kind of quasi-hotel or something. I'm having 3 meals a day. Life is good until I get back on the street again. So I really feel the whole discussion, the whole equation, at some point there must be some kind of deterrent. I know there was one country where the leader was notorious for doing certain things that went beyond just jailing people, and he pretty much almost, I don't know if he did completely, but he almost cleaned up the streets in his country doing that. I don't want to mention the country. But I don't know, are our hands tied, or are we able only to stop at jail time, or we increase jail time? But to what extent, though, is that a deterrent for the hardened criminal? So I can't I know what I want to say, but this is as far as I can go. So I was leaving it to you. Well, that's the question. How far can you go as far as providing or considering even deterrence? Do we have any deterrence beyond just jail time?
Namely.
Because there are certain countries where we all know, everyone in here knows, and those listening to us know that there are certain parts of the world where, the price is steep. You could find yourself executed. I mean, yes, I don't be surprised. People shouldn't be surprised I say that, because it is a fact in some certain parts of the world that just you don't escape. You understand? So
okay, I know what
you know what I
you know what the whole morning we enjoying that meeting.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is, I cannot put the words in your mouth. I think we're there to answer questions. You have to ask the questions specifically. But if I may want to assist you, I don't know, the death penalty still exists in our book. I know there was a brutal murder in Stockholm some I think, and I think that the state had made a request, the prosecution had made a request for the death penalty to have been sought. You get my point. But the court has a particular view on that matter, but it still exists on our books, etc. But of course, that is why I'm speaking about you have to have laws of sanction, that the sentence must shoot the crime, but at the same time, we must have a plan to save our younger people. Okay? And that's why the whole question of affirmative action comes in, where we bring in all the players within socialization to assist in that project of trying to get our young men who are more inclined to commit crime to be less inclined in committing crime. To say that is what we think we can do, and that's how we want to work with you.
I know that.
Having said that, if you're found with an illegal firearm, the strict rules should apply. And therefore the police have to continue with their proactive stance, and some of the details of the interventions that cannot be made to the public. But I understand where you're coming from. You have a hardline view of as to how perpetrators of particular crimes should be dealt with. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have been a fantastic group so far, and we have gone beyond our time frame, and we're looking forward to have more regular such engagement as time progresses. I think as we embark, we shall be having our first community outreach program in Granby on the 11th of this month in the village of Granby, and we're hoping to replicate similar activities throughout the country. So thank you very much for being here this morning, and the questions that were asked, I think you were very respectful, and may the good Lord continue to bless you. Thank you very much.
So, yes, there you have it. We have now come to the end of this morning's press conference with the Ministry of National Security and the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. Of course, the venue was the Office of the Disaster Management Conference Room.